So when I pick up a front hoof, I stand with my shoulder next to his, facing his rear. And whichever hand is closer to him, I'm going to run that hand down the back of his leg and ask for the foot. So when I'm on his left, I would be using my left hand to lift his foot and my right hand to pick the hoof. When I go to the other side, I will have to switch hands. So it's a little bit of practice when you're using your non-dominant hand, but you'll get used to it. So I'm going to run my hand down the back of his leg and give a little squeeze. And when he lifts the foot, I'm just going to cup it with my hand. And I'm cupping the actual hoof, the hard hoof wall, as opposed to the hairy part of his leg. So when I hold the hairy part of his leg, you see the foot falls away. But when I grab the actual hoof wall, now the sole of the foot is tipped up towards me where I can see it. So I'm going to do a little clean here. And I like to go around my horse in a circle. So if I let this front foot down, rather than going and doing the other front foot, I'm going to come straight to this rear. And you see Trigger's already picking it up for me. He knows. Because I do them in the same order every time, he knows what's happening. So same thing, I'm going to hold the hoof, not the hairy part of the leg. With the hind leg, it bends a little differently because he has hocks in the back where he's got knees in the front. So this is actually getting a little hard on my back holding it. I'm going to step forward and let his leg rest on my leg. Now it's hands-free and it's not hurting my back. And then I can clean the hoof. This one's actually already pretty clean. And then I would go around, pat him as I go. Do the other hind. Sometimes they kind of pull their back leg up and you have to wait a second for them to relax. They're just sort of stretching it out. Let it down gently, watch where your toes are, and then finish the circle with the last front foot. So here we have the bottom of an unshod hoof. So this is a barefoot horse with no shoe. He's got a little bit of mud here on the sole of his foot. So I'm going to pick that away and then show you the anatomy of the foot, how I did that. So this is the hoof pick up close. It's got a little brush on one end, pick on the other. So I'm going to find this little groove right here. And you'll see in a moment when the mud is out of the way that there is a triangular part right here called the frog. So this is the sole of his foot. This is the frog. The frog is squishy. It's sort of a shock absorber. That's softer tissue. The sole of his foot is a little harder. And this right here is called the collateral groove. So to pop the mud out, the easiest thing to do is start here at the corner of the collateral groove and just follow that frog all the way down and it'll pop right out. You can use the brush to brush things away. And we'll go show you a horse with a shoe as well because that's a little bit different technique. Here we have a shod hoof. This one belongs to Buddy. So he wears a shoe around the hoof wall. So when we clean a shod hoof, sometimes we get a little bit more stuff right here in the sole area. So we would start the same way we did with the unshod hoof, going down the collateral groove and popping out any large chunks of muck that might be there. And then we're going to finish by going around the edge of the shoe. So that'll pop out any remaining stuff that's in there. And then you can brush it away just like we did with the unshod hoof.